What's going on, friends? I'm Jake, and I just wanted to share a little audio image project that I'm working on. Steganography is the concept of hiding information inside of image data that allows you to kind of like encode messages or something like that. And I'm working on a code library that does that. Like in this case, we've saved like the message hello world inside of this image, and it's kind of represented by these pixels right here. So this is the source image, and then this is the encoded image on the right, and then we can decode it using my like code library down here. And we can modify a bunch of different things and change kind of like the way it's encoded and decoded for different visual effects. But what I really want to share is Stega Cassette, which is the ability to store image waveforms inside of, to store audio waveforms inside of images. And so I have a 30-second MP3 that I've actually encoded inside of this image. And if we zoom in, we see, all this distortion and noise, that's actually audio data, which allows us to play audio back. So I'm going to play it right now. Love will call. So that's just like a couple seconds of this MP3 that I've stored in this image. But what's cool and important here is we were playing an image as audio. We weren't playing an audio file, which means we could download this image as an artifact and then play it back as audio. I'm going to demonstrate some of that in just a second. We have controls here. This is a documentation website that shows you how the code works. We have controls here to change the sample rate, the bit depth. All of this is going to make the audio quality lower, but it's going to make the image size smaller, which is kind of fun. So if we play this back, I'll make it mono 2 to really reduce the amount of data here. So that kind of sounds like a telephone or something, but what's super cool about it is that this image, when we save it, I'll just say this is, I don't know, test 1. If we open up test 1 here, this is the size of the image. It's not that large at all. And inside of it is that audio that we were just listening back to, which is super cool. So we have an image artifact that represents a lo-fi kind of like audio sample. Now, this is kind of the documentation site. I'm going to take us over to Sonic Pixels, which is kind of like my demo environment that I'm using to kind of demonstrate this for folks. This is available on the public internet if you're interested in trying it out yourself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this example MP3 right here, which is that MP3 we were encoding, and I'm going to take a screenshot of Cameron Winter here. This is the artist behind that song. This is a screenshot from the music video. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to also select this MP3, and I'm going to drag them over here. We've loaded the MP3, we've loaded the image. We can hit convert, and we've encoded that MP3, the 40 seconds here, onto this image. So we could save this image, download it, re-upload it, and play it back. But I'm going to just kind of like play around a little bit here. We'll move the sample rate down. I'm going to use like we'll use the subtractive encoding because I feel like, no, not subtractive. The difference encoding looks kind of cool on this image, right? We could do something like this. We can also increase the border around this. So this is beginning to look kind of cool. We'll also go down to like, maybe we'll do 8-bit and see how that looks. That's kind of fun. Yeah, so you get to like kind of play around, create an image the way you want. So that it's like somewhat meaningful. And then you can kind of save this image, and we'll call this test 2. And then when we hit refresh here, we've lost all that data. But we do have this image, test 2, right? 3 megabytes. This is what it looks like. Super cool looking, right? It's a fun, I keep saying artifact. I'll stop saying artifact. It's 1300 by 1300 pixels. And so I'm going to come here. I'm going to hit load encoded. We'll select that image. And I wrote a little animator that kind of animates it in, and we can just hit play. So we're listening to a low fidelity version of that song. I reduced the bit rate, I reduced the sample rate, sorry, the bit depth and the sample rate. But we could preserve the full quality if we wanted to. But what's super cool about this is that this is just, that's an image, right? You share images in a different way than you share anything else. So you could share this through text message, you could share it through an email, you could post it to a website, you could have people download it and then upload it on a website to hear what it is. It's important to kind of recognize here that there's no servers. This is a static website. So when you drop images on here, I'm not doing anything with it. Like, it doesn't send it to the greater internet. It's just doing stuff on your machine. which is super cool. You don't need a Google account to authenticate. You don't need to save your data anywhere. It's just kind of like this modification that can happen in real time, and then you can do whatever you want with that image. And so it's kind of like a subversive way to kind of distribute information. If you save one of these to your photos album on an iPhone, Apple doesn't know that there's a song in it. It just thinks it's a distorted image. And there's ways to like further obfuscate the data if you ever wanted to. That's what this tool is kind of like for. Is to kind of like think of alternative ways to distribute information and kind of like exchange meaningful things, like a song, for example. If you were ever like releasing a single as an artist or something like that, it'd be a perfect opportunity to use a technology like this to kind of have a fun little leak of some kind. You can also put songs, in addition to songs, you could put text, you could put a book in there, you could put all sorts of things. You could put an entire website inside of an image so that you load a whole web experience by dropping an image onto the web browser. There's all sorts of opportunities here that I think are really cool, and kind of like show alternative ways to use web technology. I've been doing this sort of stuff for a long time. If you're interested in like me, you can find my stuff at jake.fun. These are I build tons of instruments. I think another important way that this technology could come in would be to kind of like distribute presets of instruments. So I'm working on an arpeggiator right now, and I store all the data in images. So you gotta get an image that looks like your presets, and then you load it in as a cassette. Things like that I think are really cool. So if you're interested in this like general concept too, anothermachine.info is kind of the bucket that I'm putting all of this work under, and kind of have a manifesto here describing like all the different technologies, including this steganography project. But yeah, thanks for watching.